the organizers and the members of the Medical Association in Sholapur. It's such a pleasure to talk to colleagues, because you have also heard that I did some medicine just to talk to doctors about it. Because in the realm of the divine, there are no names given to any plexuses. It's difficult to talk to doctors unless and until you know their language. Now, the main thing we have to understand about Sahaja Yoga is this, that when we are trying to analyze or find out through scientific methods anything, we can only do it when that part is available to us, apparent to us, that we can see it, we can feel it, we can analyze it. Like a tree, we see the tree on top of the Mother Earth. For us it is easy to see the tree, but supposing we have to go deep down into the roots. So Sahaja Yoga is the knowledge of the roots and not of the tree. Of course, tree is very important because root has no meaning if there is no tree. But tree is more important when it can tell you that there are roots to it. So all our knowledge of science, whatever it is, whatever discoveries we have made, how far we have gone, I mean, we can go very deep into it, I know that. But still, you cannot reach the absolute, because absolute is the point where you have to dissolve. We have one scholar here who is doing his PhD in Brighton, and he has a subject, how to establish an absolute 0 point in temperature. He cannot. Nobody can. It's a fact. You can go up to a point, but you cannot become the absolute through your mental projection, because the mind is a limited thing. We must understand the mind is limited. Like I came by car, I had to leave my car behind to come inside. In the same way, this limited mind cannot take you to something that is unlimited, because absolute has to be unlimited. So to reach the absolute point, what should be done? That's the main problem with all of us. All those who are seekers, whether they are scientists or psychologists or any way, they have one point, if they see correctly, that we have not reached the absolute. That is why we do not understand why are we made human beings from amoeba stage. We should ask a simple question to ourselves. Why are we human beings? What was the purpose of this evolution that we were made human beings? So, as we cannot answer this question, it is not answerable. We have to know that we are in a transition state. And this human awareness has to achieve another awareness which is dynamic, which is collective in nature. And many people, I would say like you, who has talked of collectivity, who has talked of collective awareness, that a man, if he evolves, he will become collectively conscious. He could see that, but he did not know how. Even if you say that if you have to go to Sholapur, you better take this road and that road. But if you cannot reach Sholapur, then you are not in Sholapur. So even if you say this is the way it has to be, unless and until somebody does it in a practical way, in actualization, you have to achieve it. This is the problem. This is the problem that exists between all the people who are seeking, between all the enterprises, between all the movement we have. There is no quarrel between God and science. One thing one should remember, science has come from God. It has not come from you. For example, now if you say there is gravity, now you have not put gravity in the Mother Earth, did you? We cannot even transform one flower into fruit. Not one flower into fruit. Can you imagine? So there is some living power which is doing this living job. Now think, an Indian has a child, he is an Indian. His sorting out is done. You know that any foreign matter that goes into the body is thrown away, has to be thrown away. But when the fetus is conceived, then it is kept, nourished, properly looked after, and is thrown out at the right time. Who does that job? We must think. There are so many things, for example, acetylcholine and adrenaline, these two chemicals. Of course, doctors, I must say, or scientists are honest. So they say their mode of action in human body they cannot explain. They just openly say they cannot, because it may augment or it may not. But Sahaja Yoga can explain why it happens, why this has to happen. Now the jumping from this knowledge of the mind into the knowledge of the eternal is a difficult task to accept it. Because as Dr. Barjorji has told you, that when we get education, we think we know quite a lot. Not that you do not know, not that this knowledge is not needed. It's very important. If you are a doctor, you will be a great surgeon, no doubt. But something is not known to you which is much greater than what is known to you. So this human awareness, this Chetana that is within you today, has to rise to that level, or you have to become that subtle that you can enter into your roots. All right? So on this point we start moving further, that you are paying attention to me. But if I say pay attention to yourself, you cannot. How will you do? You cannot. You cannot see yourself, you cannot see your organs, you cannot see your body, you cannot see anything, you cannot see your mind. You cannot feel it. So what should happen? Say something falls down. Immediately our attention goes there. Some happening has to take place within ourselves. And that happening is nothing but Kundalini awakening. Now this Kundalini is a force which is lying in the triangular bone, which is called as sacrum. Fine. I have been speaking and speaking hours and hours together. Now this triangular bone is called as sacrum. Sacrum means sacred. In Greek language, sacrum means sacred. And when I went to Greece, I asked them, why do you call it sacrum? So they told me that they had a report with Indians much before Alexander came here. And the Indians told them that there is a power in this triangular bone. Can you imagine? We have forgotten it, we have lost it, because we have studied only the British or whatever is English, or you can call it a Western medical science. But in our science, you will be surprised, 14,000 years back, Markandeya has talked about it. We Indians are best suited for this to understand. Now many people say that Maharashtra has got 3.5 pithas. Many people must have heard. There are 3.5 pithas. One of them is Mahalakshmi, then another is Tuljapur Bhavani, then third one is Mahul, and the half one is the Chaturshri. Now to sound these things to a doctor is something so funny and stupid. I mean, I can understand as doctors. But it's not. Believe me. These are the 3.5 coils of the Kundalini of the whole universe placed in your Maharashtra. They are the source of that power within your own country, this great Maharashtra. Now, people may not believe it. But how will you know? Now somebody says this is a Jagrut sthana. Even doctors go, I know, doctors will have a Ganesha, they'll say Namaste to Ganesha. I mean, Indian doctors all will have Ganesha, they'll go to Mandir also say Namaste. That's what they do. But they do not know that Ganesha is placed within us. And he controls our prostate. And he controls all our pelvic plexuses. We do not know this. But he resides there. So to jump from that to this is rather difficult for a medical man. I understand. But I had all students, you see, with me who were studying with me. I could see, I never talked to them about Kundalini or anything. I just wanted to be like them, to understand how their brains are working. For them, this is knowledge, this is everything, nothing beyond. And anybody who talks about it, they turn face. Now, I do not want you to come to any conclusion by saying that, of course, Dhaneshwara has talked about it, so he cannot be wrong or this and that. Not at all. But scientifically, we have to understand that we have not got answers to many questions. That means there is no sufficient light in our knowledge. If you are coming in this room in darkness, you might find a mic, you might find a table, you might find something. This becomes the truth because the eyes are not yet open or the light is not there. But supposing by any chance somebody can open the light, you can see all the things, isn't it? That's what Dr. Barjodi ji is talking about, the integration part. Now this light is nothing but your auto, which you talk of, autonomous nervous system. You just give the names, auto. Now who is auto? We accept it. When we get the names, we just accept the name. We never ask why it is called auto. Because it is Swayam Chalit. Who is the Swayam? Who is the Swa? Is the spirit within us. In a way we have accepted. Because we have to fix somebody as auto, otherwise we don't know what to do. I mean, we see parasympathetic working, sympathetic working. So we have to fix up somebody as the person behind the door. But that auto is the spirit, is the Atma, we do not want to accept. All right, we'll call it auto if you don't like it. For the scientist. If they don't like, we'll call it auto only. So this Mr. Auto is the Atma according to Sahaja. We call it Atma, you call it auto. That's the only difference of names. Now this auto exists within us. But this auto is not in our central nervous system. That is true. Because we cannot control our parasympathetic. We may be able to excite our sympathetic but not parasympathetic. That's a fact. Sympathetic, if we excite it, we can work out. But parasympathetic we cannot work out. It works automatically. So somehow or other, if you can bring that auto in your attention or in your central nervous system, then you can manage the show better. Scientifically. I'm just going scientifically. All right? Now, how to bring this auto in your attention, how to control this auto is the problem. You cannot do it through science. You cannot do it through medical science. Through any science you cannot do. Because this will only happen when you evolve to another state. And science cannot bring in evolution. Can it? It cannot give you wisdom and it cannot give you evolution. Evolution it cannot give. Why? It cannot even create life, I would say. Please. So this auto, to be in your central nervous system, we should look inside ourselves. There could be some arrangement. And for that, the knowledge is in your great country, already there. You are the one who have inherited that. Varsa. This is what you have inherited. It is your inheritance which is lost. But one must know when the tree grows too high, it must have roots. And that is how whatever they are saying about me, I am the taproot, I should say. Who has done this seeking inside perhaps, or I have reached that source. And that's how I know what is the root. In our country, many saints have tried to go through that path and have found out. They have tried to express it in many ways, but they kept it a secret till the 6th century when Adi Shankaracharya came and he talked about it very clearly. He talked about Kundalini, he talked about all the chakras, he talked about everything. But who reads Adi Shankaracharya? At least the medical man does. I mean, I don't blame them because they are so busy. And after that it was all exposed, then Kabira clearly, absolutely clearly is talked about. So Sahaja Yoga is not a new system. It is anat, it's old. Only thing what has happened to Sahaja Yoga today, that it has become a Mahayoga. That there are many thousands can get realization. That was not possible and feasible. This is the only thing that has happened, that today the blossom time has come and many flowers can become fruit. And that's how even an ordinary person gets realization. A poor man can get realization. A doctor can get realization. Anybody can get realization. And the sooner you get, the better it is. So now first thing what will happen to you? Supposing you get the light within yourself and you can see within yourself. Say you have an X-ray to see yourself within yourself. So first thing that should happen to you is that you should know about yourself, what's the problem with you. You'll be amazed, people end up in lunatic asylums and till they are absolutely gone cases, people do not know that they are mad. Same about cancer. I would say cancer can be detected much earlier than doctors can detect. Very simple it is. Any disease connected with liver is another thing. I would say even liver problems are not detected till a patient gets a cirrhosis or some sort of a disease which is absolutely fatal and you declare, all right, now you go into coma, finished. These can be detected through Sahaja Yoga very well, because once you are enlightened, your fingers, these 5 fingers, 6 and 7, they start denoting the centers. And on these fingers you can know. Now according to Sahaja Yoga, left side sympathetic, deals with your emotional side, and the right side deals with physical and your mental side. Clear cut. So now you see a person who is very busy, who is a doctor, say for example, he is a very busy man and he has no time at all, he is always looking at his watch naturally. So what happens to him? He becomes a right-sided person, because he's using his physical being and also his mental being, but the emotional becomes little dried out. So emotionally is not so good. Emotionally he goes down. As a result, you won't believe, as a result of this imbalance, what diseases one can get to begin with. According to Sahaja Yoga, this is another principle. According to Sahaja Yoga, because I will not say that medical people will agree to it or they have found it. They might find out later on. But just now they have not found so far. Because I did medicine, you are all younger to me in age. So I did my medicine when you might have been just young boys. So maybe my terminology may be a little different, but doesn't matter. So according to Sahaja Yoga, the brain is made of fat cells. That is according to medical science. Now these fat cells, when they are used too much, then they are replaced. They are replaced by the fat of the stomach, and the conversion for the use of the brain of the special cells is created by a center we call it Swadhisthana chakra, which actually on the physical level you can say is the aortic plexus. On the physical, in the Sukshma is Swadhisthana. So one of the jobs of this Swadhisthana chakra is to convert these cells for the use of the brain. And the other job is to look after your liver, look after your pancreas, look after your spleen and your kidneys, and in ladies, uterus, part of it. So when you think too much or plan too much and you are futuristic, Most of the time this poor one, Swadhisthana Chakra, is busy coping with that thinking process and replacing the brain cells. Alright? So it neglects all these organs which are very vital and important to us. So the first trouble one may get by thinking too much is diabetes. Now if you ask a doctor, he'll say don't eat sugar. But this is no cure of the disease. But you see, villagers eat at least 5 spoons in 1 cup of tea. At least 5. They never get diabetes. It's only the people who think and plan too much for the future get it. First is diabetes. The another is very dangerous, is leukemia. Leukemia also one gets from the same type of lifestyle we live. Because you know, at emergencies, the spleen has to produce new RBCs. That is accepted. All right. Now a person who is getting up in the morning, see, rushing up, it's very interesting how it is. Just think of it. Everybody does that. We never see ourselves how we behave. And he goes to the bathroom and comes out, you see, with his band just being tied up, and the wife is there to give him the breakfast. On one side he's eating the breakfast. Then he's reading the newspaper, getting another shocks after shocks from the newspaper. Then he gets into the car, and in the car there's a jam and he doesn't know how to drive and all that. He's a sure patient for leukemia. Because poor, this spleen has to produce new blood corpuscles all the time. And it becomes hectic. Now you may question me that why children get it, because the parents must be like that. You see, the parents also can make the children hectic. Get up in the morning, go to the school, what are you doing, this, that, all the time. If you are after your child with a stick in your hand, the child is due. A mother who is too, you see, clever at home and very particular about her kitchen and the cleanliness of the whole thing, and she can get after her child. And such a thing completely upsets that poor spleen. And the production of RBCs lose their sense of proportion. Of course, there's a triggering. And the triggering takes place, as the doctors call it, I mean, recently I saw that they call it by proteins 52 and proteins 58. And they call it, these are attacks. I mean, this recently I saw in England, research, cancer research people had given this new explanation. And they said it comes from the areas built within us from our creation. And we call it collective subconscious. In Sahaja Yoga, we call it collective subconscious. Beyond our conscious mind, there is subconscious mind. And beyond the subconscious mind is the collective subconscious mind on the left-hand side. Now, according to them, these are protein 52, 58, whatever you may call it. But we call it a bhuta badha, simple word. Or you may call it a kali vidya, whatever it is. But it is nothing but attack of a dead soul on a person. Absolutely, it exists. And that is how it triggers. Now, virus infection is also the attack of the vegetables, we can say, or of the vegetations which have gone out of the circulation of your evolution. That's virus infection. I mean, if you know the source from where it is coming, you can stop it, isn't it? Now, doctors can't believe a bhoot, but once they are caught up with a bhoot, they know it is a bhoot. Like I met a doctor who was in charge of a hospital and his son was possessed. So he came to me, he said, "Mother, please somehow or other save my son, I don't know what to do with him." And I cured him. So he said, "How did you cure?" I said, "It's simple, he's possessed." And he was possessed by something, and that's being removed, is solved. But to tell a doctor, I mean, you are in for trouble. But it's a fact, believe me, it's a fact. The triggering they have said about 52 and 58, I mean, you call it anything like auto, you call to Atma, you call it auto. All right, so what can we do about it? Or if you call it to a Bhutabada as protein 52 and 58, what should we do? I mean, you have more sophisticated names perhaps, but it's simple like that. So once a person has that kind of a wobbly spleen, he is a good case. He is a good case for getting leukemia. Now let's come to the best part of it, what one can get ultimately. That when your attention is so much outside, then your spirit in the heart gets upset and you get a heart attack. All heart attacks are due to this kind of thing. There are two types of heart diseases according to Sahaja Yoga. It's very simple. One is a lethargic heart and one is an overactive heart. The overactive heart gets a heart attack when whether you are thin or fat makes no difference. The lethargic heart may be from the fat. But the active heart, the one who is extremely active all the time thinking of the future and all that, is in for a heart attack. It's so simple as that. So now you have to just give a balance to a person who is a right-sided, you give him a balance. Make left and right all right. He's cured. When you know the tattva, the principle, how you get diseases, then can you not cure it if you know how to cure the tattva? Sahaja Yoga is like that. Sahaja Yoga knows the principle, what goes wrong. And principles are few. Like the colors are very few, isn't it? The mixtures are there, permutations, combinations. But if you know the principle, you just put the principle right and the person is all right. Like the gentleman who has sent you this Mehrotra himself. He was going to Houston for a bypass, and I was speaking in a Rotary Club. And in Delhi, there were about 2,000 people. Suddenly he shot up. He came to me, he said, "Mother, I have to go to Houston." I said, "But I am flying out to Bombay to go to Pune. I have to go to Pune." He said, "I live in Pune." I said, "All right, I'll meet you there." He came to see me. I think twice I gave him vibrations. Then he went back to Bombay, and all the doctors said, "Oh, what happened? These were not your, perhaps these were not your X-rays or what." He's completely cured, 100%. And now all his bypass and all that is over. And for this, what are you going to pay? This is just flowing. I mean, you are not also obliging anyone. That's the worst part of it, that people think I'm obliging. No. See, if you are part and parcel of me, say for example, now my finger is something wrong, I just rub it and it's all right, then am I obliging my finger? I mean, if you are part and parcel of me, how can I oblige you? That's what they were saying, that you have to become the part and parcel of the whole. You just become part and parcel of the whole, the arbitrary behavior becomes malignant. Arbitrary behavior of a cell becomes malignancy. Because the centers, now I'll tell you about cancer also on the same simple way. See, it's a simple way of explaining cancer, any cancer. Now, we can say that with my hands I might be able to show you that left hand and right hand are two sympathetic nervous systems, and these are the centers in between. You can see that, all right? These are the centers. Now what happens? A person starts doing something extraordinary, something emergency he creates within himself. It can be with anything. Now he creates an emergency, he uses too much of his sympathetic, supposing he uses the right side too much. Then what happens? This starts wobbling like that, the center. And the center starts wobbling, and there's a deity inside this which keeps the relationship with the whole. The deity just sleeps off, and the relationship is broken. The relationship with the whole is broken because the medulla oblongata has got, you see, inside, though to the physical mind it has not broken, but to the subtle thing it's finished. There's no relationship with the whole. So what happens? The cells here have no messages. So they become on their own. And they start becoming bigger and bigger. They become on their own. You see, they become very ambitious. They start growing bigger and bigger. That's how you get malignancy. Simple thing is that. Now what do we do for surgery? It is very simple. If you are a realized soul, what you have to do is to just put your hand on the center, at the back. So by giving vibrations, you awaken the deity and it's again sucked back. You are put together in relationship with the whole. I mean, I must tell you, I cured Mr. Sanjeeva Reddy. You may write to him and ask him. Now, he had come from America, he had gone for an operation. And the operation was a failure. And he was in a horrible mess. He could not sleep and he was in big pain and they tried all kinds of injections. I mean, you can imagine Sanjeeva Reddy as president coming down. I went with my husband to see him because he knew my husband, he knew me also. But our High Commissioner was B.K. Nehru. I don't know why. He told his wife, you know, this is Mataji Nirmala Devi. She had heard my name in Delhi. She said, Mataji, please cure my husband. Otherwise, my husband is not going to say anything. So I just put my hand on his back for 10 minutes. You won't believe, in 10 minutes. He said, oh God, I'm feeling so relaxed, let me sleep now. He slept off and they were thinking, I mean, it was all last thing, you see, so they had prepared everything that they didn't expect him to come alive. And when he walked out, they got a shock of their lives. You see, they had brought ambulance. He said, I don't need any ambulance, nothing. And just walked off, you see. And then he went on for a tour. And then when I went to see him, he showed me his back. He said, even the scratches, which one should see at least a scratch of the operation, even there is not even a scratch, you cannot see. The Kundalini has done it. The Kundalini is your mother. She's the one sitting down there, just waiting this thing to happen. Because she's your Shuddha Ichha. She's the pure desire. But the rest are Vikrutas. They are perverted. The real desire one has is to become one with God. Unless and until that desire is fulfilled, you are not going to be happy. So that desire is sitting down there. She's your mother. Everybody has individual mother. And when this pure desire rises, she integrates all these centers. That's how you get integrated. And then she comes up to here, and you can even feel in many people the lap down. You see, anahata. Anahata means without percussion. The sound you hear on the head. You can even see in many people the Kundalini pulsating. Actually, with naked eyes, you can see. Today only, we had somebody who had a Kundalini which was just pulsating at the base. If there is no way of getting out, it pulsates, poor thing. You know, it just, some people have such Kundalini that just goes on tossing that, oh God, when am I going to give birth to my child? And then, if you can smooth it out, bring it out, it just comes out. And then you feel a cool breeze coming out of your head, which is not possible medically. Is it possible? You feel a cool breeze coming out of your head, you feel a cool breeze blowing into your hands. Then this is the power, which is the all-pervading power, the Brahma Tattva, which you can use, which is all integrated. In Sahaja Yoga language, we call it Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. Then you understand what was Muhammad Sahib, what was Zoroaster, what was Christ, who they are, everything we understand. They are all integrated, we are the only people fighting among ourselves. And it works out so beautifully, you can't. I wish all of you get your realization and work it out. I would like to answer your questions. If you have any, please ask me. And then let's have it. क्या करें?
Can any accidents can occur in Kundalini?
Can any accidents happen?
Yeah, no, not in this one. You see, now there are people who have written books and books about Kundalini. I was myself shocked, when I read them. It's all absurd. You see, a person who doesn't know how to handle even a scalpel and tries to operate someone, what will happen? That's what it is. No, Kundalini process, there are no accidents, nothing. Nothing happens like that. I'm just telling you, these are naive people who do not know how to handle it. Alright?
Yes, they are saying now Guru is needed for all these yogas and these things.
They say it because they don't know how to do it. Supposing somebody says, oh, you see, medical science is horrible, don't go near it. because they don't know about it. What can you do? It's like putting your fingers in the plug and saying that electricity is shocking. You must know the thing, first of all. And secondly, such a person has to be a person of character. You see, a man who is taking money from you, God doesn't give blessings to such a man, isn't it? Or he's trying to make money out of you, or he's a bad charactered man, he's a horrible man, and he has, a papi man, as you can call it. Such a person cannot do it. Doesn't do it. These are all money making propositions. And only it is Sri Ganesha who gets angry, not Kundalini. Poor thing, she doesn't do anything, but it is the anger of Sri Ganesha works on the sympathetic. That also you will know what happens.
What is the role of Shraddha and Bhakti in Sahaja Yoga?
Bhakti is very important. I mean, if you believe in God, then God looks after you. But bhakti can be an extreme step also, like you are calling God, God, when the God stands before you, still you are calling God. You see, that is too much, isn't it? Like Tulsidas, he wrote so much about Ramayana and all that. But when Sri Rama came to him, and he also gave him a tilak, and still he could not recognize him. So what's the use of such a blind bhakti? It should not be blind, it should be from heart. Very important. If somebody is a man who has this bhakti from his heart, he gets Sahaja Yoga very fast. But actually now I have seen in Sahaja Yoga has become so powerful that everyone gets realization, not difficult. Everyone gets it, not difficult. In the villages, if you see 6,000 people sitting, all will raise hands. But the complicated are rather difficult, I must say. Or if you have some disease, that also you can make up on the Kundalini, and also then Kundalini stops. You'll be amazed if there's somebody, say, who comes to me, he has a liver problem, then the Kundalini goes and she goes on hitting on the liver, you see. And even a person who doesn't understand that liver is there, he'll put his hand there because he sees the Kundalini hitting there. So it just shows where the problem is. Even if you don't understand any medicine, you will know where the problem is, because Kundalini will go and start hitting at that point. And you can see with your naked eyes.
How do you explain the pulsation of the head in Kundalini, please? How do you explain the pulsation of the head about the Kundalini? According to anatomy and physiology, please. Because as we know, in case of an adult,
I'll tell you. In the brain, you see where the pituitary and pineal body, in the center of that, you can say the optic chiasma, there's a very subtle center called Agya Chakra, which is very important, which goes on working when you think too much. And the back side is the one which is surrounded by, you see, I would say that the limbic area has got all the 7 chakras. All the 7 chakras the limbic area has. But they are called the pithas. Pithas mean the seats of the chakras. So all these chakras are represented in our brain, alright, in the limbic area. Now out of that, this Agya Chakra is genuinely here, and the Pitha is also here. The outside, this is the window of that Agya Chakra, which is in the center of pituitary and the pineal, and it controls pituitary and pineal. Alright? Now, at the back side of it, it has only 2 windows. So it is here and here at the back. And surrounding that is Swadhisthana Chakra, the same one I told you about, poor thing which has to work very hard. Now this one, when you get diabetes, what happens? That the Swadhisthana goes out of order, and that's how you get blind. Because Swadhisthana is surrounding this. Yeah. This one. So all the 7 chakras are in the limbic area. It's very interesting.
How do you get the? You said, how do you get the pulsation of the
Pulsation here. Pulsation, you said?
Yes.
Because the Kundalini rises. She passes through this, and then you start feeling the pulsation, because it is trying to break you. When it breaks, then you get that's how you get the pulsation. You can even with the stethoscope hear the pulsation on different chakras to begin with. Then ultimately here you get the pulsation. Then it breaks. You see, the thing, it becomes, this fontanelle bone area becomes soft, just like a child's fontanelle bone. In a person who is bald-headed, you sometimes see the whole thing opening out like that. And then you feel the cool breeze coming out. So should we have realization? Let's try. Worth it, all right? Take out your shoes, that's all. Because the Mother Earth helps us. You see, these are all the 5 elements which have gone upside down. That's all. Just take out your shoes, that's all. It's very simple. Anybody can get it, no problem. According to these Western people, Indians are very easy. They are a very great quality of people. They are dharmic. And they are very great according to them. And I must also confess that I have to really break my hands in the West. In India, I must say, they know it very well. They have to break also. Not only me, they have to do the same. So they are very happy here because giving realization to Indians is very easy. But giving realization to Western people is very difficult. So they also have suffered, all of them. So they will stand by me. They don't feel bad. They all know that this is the problem. Because they are very complicated, extremely complicated. So many attacks have come to them that they are complicated, thinking is too much, like this fellow Freud has put wrong ideas into their head, and there's a Bauhaus and all this nonsense. And who was that? What was the unholy trinity you were talking about? Where is he, Brian?
Freud, Nietzsche and Wagner.
हे स्वतःच काढतायत. That's it. You see, that's how it is. They have been attacked and they accepted all this. You see, we may be educated in Western education, but we don't forget about God, isn't it? We still, think about God as a part of us, and Dharma is within us. Yancha Dharma is a big problem. And even Indians, you see, if they take to adharmic life, they still remember this is adharmic. But for them it has become so difficult to remember that this is adharmic. That's another world. Another world. You see, for them nothing is dharma. These poor things, they have been attacked so much, and these are all saints born. The surprising part is that they being saints, they were born in such countries where there was affluence, and they are attacked. These are saints, definitely. And those who are seekers there are tremendous seekers. You will be amazed, these people, they have been druggists and alcoholics and all sorts of people. But the day they get realization, next day they give up. Indians don't. Indians are chicken. They don't. I must say. No, Indians don't give up so easily. They do it. They are saints. See, the quality that way is very good. But on the whole, you see, totality, I am saying, in general, it's horrible. But they are saints because the way they give up their things is amazing. Here, you give realization, tari thodi si tambaku getos. It's like that. You see, they stick on to something. I don't know why. These people just give up, overnight. They are very determined. That something is there. That goes in their favor, and this goes in your favor. My condition is that some people have teeth and some people don't have chanas, and some people don't have chanas and they have teeth. It's like that. It's a funny situation. All right, so let's have it. Now you don't have to be serious about it, nothing, but it is a very serene thing. It's not serious, but serene. Just put your hands like this, that's all, and close your eyes, that's all. Just put your hands straight like that, straight. Kind. And I think better to take out your spectacles, put them. It also helps your eyes very much. Just put your spectacles, you may remove later on. Just, it's so fantastic you can't imagine. It's another world I'm talking about. Just close your eyes.